All right, welcome everyone. Good to see you all again. The weeks are flying by. Munindra, kannst du mir diese kleine Thermosflasche geben? Ja, danke. Okay, we have our, does that work? I don't even know how to open it. It's too complicated. Okay, we have a small live audience. We have our Bhakti Shastri students here. Not that I'm teaching Bhakti Shastri. Takes an expert. Thank you. Ah, man, you just have to press the button. I knew it was going to be simple. It was too simple. Jai Om Jnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Sva Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yukta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitangscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. And once more, Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I'm just checking if I have one book here. Okay. Excuse me. This one, I think. Yeah. And a verse from Sri Gauranga Lila Smarana Mangala Stotram of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Someday I will get brighter light here. It's really. Bhagye Shrinvan Varahanimiti Krandanat Yo Nivrittas. Oh, here comes more light. Tasmat Strinam Sakala Vishaye Namaganantadasit Matre Jnanam Visharamavadam Mrittika Bhakshane Yo Vande Goram Kalimalaharam Namaganashrayam Tam. I offer my respects to Gauranga, who removes the contamination of Kali Yuga. Let's see, where is that? Kali Malaharam, who is the shelter of singing the Lord's names. That's Namaganan, Sakala Vishaye, who during his childhood, Balye, hearing the words chant the name of the Lord, Shinvan Vada Harim Iti, gave up crying. Krandanat Yaha Nivrittaha, gave up crying and thus induced the women to chant the name on all occasions. Tasmat Strinam Sakala Vishaye, I guess, in all situations, and thus induce women to chant the names on all occasions, and who, on eating dirt, Mritika Bhakshane, spoke extensive dhyana to his mother. Avadam, he spoke. Oh, Matre Jnanam Vishadam Avadam. Yeah. So here's something we can remember is Vada Harim. Vada Harim iti. So Vada is in Bengali, it's Bolo. And we say Hari Bolo. So in Sanskrit, you can say Vada Hari. You can impress your fellow students in Bhakti Shastri course. When someone says Hari Bol, you can say Vada Hari. We are in a Shastra class. Okay, let's do some reading of Chaitanya Mangala. We're coming to the end of a section in a few verses. So let's see. Share. Okay, and like this. So the last verse we read was 74, I believe. Pratyange amiya shanchaye rashi rashi nirakite noyane hridoye hanobasi. His every limb, Lord Chaitanya's every limb, was a great flood of nectar. In their hearts, what did the people feel as they gazed at him with their eyes? Nirakite noyane hridoye hano basi. Noyane, in the eyes. Hridoye hano basi. Um, okay, nirakite. So the next verse, Balak dakiya buk bharala anande alasite ankik hene hoila nivibande. As they gazed at the infant boy, Balaka, Dakiya, seeing the Balaka, the people felt their hearts tremble with bliss. So Anande in bliss, and I'm guessing Buk must be a word for heart, and Bharala must be trembling. Why did the ladies look at him with languid eyes? Languid means, I don't know how to translate languid. Alasite. Alas, I think it means something like relaxed. Anki is eyes. Kane, why? Oila nivibande, why? Why did their tight belts become slackened? Now, this is getting interesting because they're looking at a small child, but they're feeling something like madhurya rasa, not vatsalya. I think this will become clear as he's identified as Kamadeva, but as a baby, it's a little strange. Janma mata balaka dakila e kane kotokoti kamajini sundaravadane heno anumani shabe de jai jai sharupe manusha nahe shachira tanoi. Everyone gazed at the newborn infant. Balak is child, Janmamata, I guess it's like newborn. Dakila, they saw, Ekshane, this moment, literally, in this moment. So as they were looking, how many, here it is, how many Kamadevas does this boy conquer? Koto is the question word, how many? And Koti is 10 million. And Kama refers to Kamadeva. And genie conquering Sundar Vadane. Everyone called out Jai Jai. Okay, it continues. Sundar Vadane. So with sweet voice, they asked, I think that's what it means. Hano Anumani. Well, Anumani is the thinking. Such thinking I don't know this Sundar Vadani. Seems like they're saying in a sweet voice. Hano Anumani Shobe Dei Jai Jai. Everyone said Jai Jai, or they called out Sharup e Manush Nahe Shachir Tanoi. So Shachir Tanoi, the little boy, Tanai is and it means, small, delicate person, I think. So the child of Sachi, Sharup e Manush, in this human form. So they're thinking, Hano Anumani, they're all thinking and saying Jai Jai, that this is, well, it might be taken, this is not a human, this is not a human form. Yeah, that's how it's translated. Sachi's divine son is not immortal. Abhinav, Abhinava Kamadeva Shachir Nandana Shravane Amiya Jave Koraye Krandana. Shachi's son is the new Kamadeva. Abhinava means Nava is new and Abhinava is very new, completely new. When this nectar comes to my ears, I weep. Shravane Amiya Jabe Koraye Krandan. So Krandan is weeping. Shravane, when hearing Amiya. Amiya, we had Amiya and we had Amiya. What did we decide Amiya was? It seems like it should be I or me here, or by me. Jabe, it happens, it goes, it results from hearing, something like that. Apone, 79, Apone Golaka, not Goloka, but Golaka. Apone Golako Nata Koilo Avatar, Nirdharilo Narigona Anuman Shar. The master of Goloka has descended to this world. But he's not saying apane. Apane means himself. So the very Lord of Goloka, which is sometimes written Golaka. So himself, Golokanath, Koila Avatar, he made, past tense, a descent down, literally, a crossing down. Or he made himself an avatar. Nirdharila Narigana Anuman Shar. Considering everything, the ladies came to this conclusion. Okay, the Narigana, the ladies, Nirdharila is considering, I would think, and Anuman in this case is the conclusion, and Sar is essence, so the essential conclusion. Shabalokanata e abani prakash anande vibhor kohe e lochan das. The master of all the worlds came to the earth, overcome with bliss. Lochandas speaks these words. So Shab Lokanat E Avani Prakash. So the Nata, the Lord of all of the lokas, Shabaloka, E Avani Prakash. He came, Avani, I guess, is a word for world. Prakash, he manifests in this world, Ei Avani, Prakash, Anande Vibhor, Kahe E Lochandas. And Lochanda, this Lochandas, Kahe says, what does he say? he says all of the words of the verses that we have just been chanting, all the way to text number 1 of this chapter. And he's Anande Vibhor. He is overcome Vibhor Anande in bliss. So that's nice. He's writing, we're writing reflections on Canto 4, and it's a great struggle, right? But for Lochan Das, he is Anande Vibhor, he's overcome with bliss. Maybe that's why it's difficult for us, or for not me, but other devotees to write about the 4th canto, because they're overcome with bliss. But in that context, I can mention now, we're doing quite well. We're coming up close to 70 contributions to this, which will be a record for Canto 4. So that's nice. Okay, I think let's stop there this time. And we can try singing it. And for that, I still have to close. Do I have to? Seems like it. Wait. Yeah. I don't know how to do it otherwise. Oh, what about this? No, that's Acrobat Reader. Zoom. That just takes me there. Phone more. No. Oh, wait, let's see. New discovery. So I can change without closing that. Original sound for musicians is now on. And we go here. Okay. Here we go. Mridanga, kartals, harmonium. There's kartals up there. There's actually 2 pairs. There's one in the little bag also. Do you want to? If you want. Okay. Balakate kiya bhuka varala anande alasite anki kene oirula nibande balakate. Janman Matsabalaka Dakila Ekshane Kotapati Kamajini Sundara Varane. Ano Anamani Shabe de Jaya Jaya Sharupe Manushana Shachirathanaya. Abhinavat Kamadeva Sachirnanda Shravane Amiya Jave Koraye Pranda. Apane Goloka Nata Koilo Avatar Nidharina Narigana Anu Anasa. Shabalokana Avani Prakar Anande Vibhor Kare Elo Chanda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Haribo, 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 Vada Harim. Okay, now I have to change this back to noise removal. Okay, good. Again, welcome everyone to Saturday Sanga from Go-druma Bhavan in Sridham Mayapur, where we're now in the month of December, and it's December 6th, and very soon the year will be over, according to the Western calendar. The sun continues to move. It doesn't stop. Or rather, the earth. Which is it, the sun or the earth? We can have a big debate about that. I think both of them are moving. Both the earth and the sun are overwhelmed with ecstasy because there are devotees in the universe who are chanting Hare Krishna. Therefore, the universe, the planets continue revolving. Okay, good. Let's see, are you here, Rajalilavati? You have something to show us, but I don't see you here.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, you are
Can
here.
you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Jai.
And all the devotees. Yes, I have to share. In June last year, I was sharing that I submitted a manuscript for my book, and the book is finally out. I have it in my hands. Yes.
Finally.
Yeah, it took a little time. I don't
Yes.
know. This is in Croatia. So it is
Congratulations.
out. Thank
Please
you.
remind us all the subject of your book.
I wrote about the pandemic of Spanish flu in Pula. So the
Yeah.
title is Urban Anatomy of a Pandemic, Spanish flu in Pula, 1918-1919. It's in Croatian language, so
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So for now, not everyone can read it. Not that maybe you should, but I would like to say that this is my service, and I do it as service to you and Srila Prabhupada, who said in Bhagavad Gita that we should discuss birth, death, disease, and old age. So
Yeah.
this is a book about disease, and I wrote some papers about this other items, this other stuff about old age and mortality in Pula from various reasons, and so on. So I find myself well situated in this service, and thank you, Gurudev, for this.
It's a very sobering topic, isn't it?
Yes.
It
Yes.
was the Spanish flu hit, I think you're saying it hit Pula particularly strongly.
Yes. Yes. Regarding the number of population which were in Pula, then we have a really strong impact of the Spanish flu here. Yeah. So in first part of the book, I wrote about how it appeared in the world, and what is the etiology and pathology of the disease, and what are the theories, how it originated, and how it came to Europe. And then I wrote about the Spanish flu in Pula, particularly because I have some sources. I found the sources from hospital registers, when we have some data about the people who came to the hospital and were treated there with diagnosis of the Spanish flu, and we have parish register when the cause of death is Spanish flu. Sometimes it says the flu and pneumonia. And I have some conclusion. Maybe the most interesting for me is that 90% of the persons who came to hospital and who were treated more than 7 days survived. So when they take shelter, and this is the hospital on the main page, this is a great metaphor for me. If you take shelter, you have a better chance of survival. So whatever that shelter is.
What was the percentage of those who didn't take shelter of the hospital who had the condition?
We cannot know for sure because we don't know how many people were ill.
Right.
So I could make the conclusion only regarding the people in the town. So this is like mortality. Usually, they say that half of the people who were ill succumbed to death.
Wow.
So lethality is 50%. But if 50 million to 100 million people died from Spanish flu, then mortality regarding the whole population was 1.2%. So in Pula was a little bit higher. This is the conclusion. So the book has
You mean world population?
Yeah, 1.2% of the world population died from the Spanish flu.
A lot more than from COVID.
Yes. Yes, I wrote also this percentage. I don't have it here, but yes, because I think from COVID, like 7 million people died, and we have like 8 billion people on the earth. And then we had 1,800,000,000 people in 1918, and we have 50 million to 100 million deaths.
Wow.
So I have statistics here, and I have some photos. This was also interesting for me because I saw that in the streets some people died from Spanish flu. So I got the photos from the museum they gave me. This is the streets in 1918 in Pula, and I wrote what are the names of today's streets, so everyone can relate to the streets. Yeah, in my street there were 2 deaths from the Spanish flu. And then I played a little with the word anatomy, and I took the red color to put the mortality in the streets, how many people died in which street of Pula. Yeah. From 1, I have 1 person who died to more than 10. We don't have many numbers, Pula didn't have so much population back then. It was like 10,000 people in the city, approximately.
And this was just at the time that World War I had finished, right?
Yes, yes.
So you're saying, I think in your conclusion, you sent me a translation that people were just so tired from the war and sort of, I guess, emotionally exhausted and so on. And then on top of all of that came this pandemic.
Yes, and they didn't have many the possibility to go and rest. They had to work. They had to go in the garden to take food for their children because they were still starving.
Wow.
And then when you got any illness and you go to work, it doesn't finish well. So yeah, social conditions, and there are many papers who also say that were really influencing the mortality of the Spanish flu then.
Mm.
This is just 100 years, but people were not having these lives as we today. And knowledge.
And 100 years from now, what will people be saying about us?
Yeah, there will be scientific papers about COVID and everything that happened now.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess a general lesson is Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam, right? This is Srila Prabhupada quoted so many times from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, what is it, verse 9, I guess, that one of the elements of jnana, knowledge, is uh, anudarshanam, the constant seeing or awareness of the dukkha, of the misery of janma, mritu, jara, and vyadhi, of birth, death, old age, and disease, or disease and old age. Janma, mritu, jara, old age, and vyadhi, disease. Yeah. So that's the general lesson. Whether people learn the lesson, whether we learn the lesson. Hare Krishna. Anyway, good. Congratulations. I know getting a book published, it feels something. Well, I don't know what it feels like to be a mother, but they say it's like having a child.
Mhm. Yeah,
So,
like a long birthing process just
yeah, it's a
happened.
long birthing process.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have to be reminded of these themes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it would be easy to write about old age, death, and disease, but about birth, we have to be really careful how to explain the miseries of birth, because people are
Everyone
still,
thinks,
birth
yeah,
is really something to celebrate and
yeah, yeah.
be joyful about.
Yeah, and that's understandable because it seems like that. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, of course, tells the story of himself. Oh, we have it right here. In Sharanagati, in his first song, after the introductory song. Um, hmm. Bulia tomare shangshare asya peye nanavida vyata. Tomar chorone asya chiyami balibo dukkha kata. Krishna, forgetting you, I suffered multiple sorrows of reincarnation. Now at your lotus feet, I shall take shelter and share this most wretched narration. Now, this translation is from Kalakanta Prabhu, my godbrother. He's made it nicely rhyming, his English translation. Janani, and then he tells the story. Janani Jotare Chilam Jakun Bishama Bandhana Vashe Akbar Prabhu Dekadiya More Panchile Edin Dase. Caught in my mother's womb, helpless and tied up. I saw you as my companion. So he's speaking to Krishna. Having displayed yourself ever so briefly, you left your servant abandoned. So he quotes companion and abandoned. Takon bhavinu janamapaya koribo bhajana taba janama hoila Hari Maya Jale, Na Hoila Gana Lo. So I resolved to devotedly worship you once I escaped my detention. Then I took birth and was sidetracked by Maya, who quickly caught all my attention. So it's the power of Maya. As soon as we are born, we forget everything. Hmm. But that's an interesting point, how to write about birth as one of the four problems. I think even in the mm, Buddhist tradition, at least in the story of the Buddha's leaving home and so on, there's no mention of birth. It's just old age, disease, and death that provokes him to leave home and seek um, perfection, liberation. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And you know what the next question is. What's your next book going to be?
I have several ideas
Oh, okay.
again about the miseries, but I
Again
would
about
like to
miseries.
ask you. Yes, I would like to ask you. Even this birth in Istria can be related to misery because there was really high infant mortality. So if mothers had,
Um,
for example, 10 children, five of them or four of them made it to 20 years old. Others
wow.
died from diseases and again some other
Hmm.
things,
Yeah.
malnutrition and like this. But again, I think this is not the point, isn't it?
Hmm.
When we write about birth, we should explain why it is not um, so famous to be born.
Yeah. Okay, so you have a new challenge.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Hare Krishna.
Mhm.
Um, let's see. Um, Dubai, I guess the Kirtan Ras is over now.
Yes, Guru Maharaj, it's over. Yesterday, the guests departed from here. So, yeah, it was an amazing actually 5 days.
Oh,
Yeah, my voice, I'm recovering from about my voice and my body is very tired. Actually, today I have to admit I slept almost half of a day. But yeah, the heart is full. It was just amazing. It was. I saw the post when they said that there were like over 4 days, 9,000 kirtan lovers came over 4 days. It was not 9,000 in one spot, I would say, but through
mhm.
4 days, 9,000, 900,000. Yeah, I said it right. And 27,000 plates of prasadam were distributed, and over 1 million people chanted across the social media. They counted together, yeah. So it became more and more popular. It was just one change because the Kirtan Rasa festival didn't happen in Dubai, but it happened in another emirate, Ajman,
Oh,
because they didn't get the permission to organize this festival. Because unfortunately, last year some devotees they posted on social media and someone noticed and they said this to the government. And when the government sees that we are
oh,
doing some kind of religious
promotion.
yeah. So they don't allow that. So yeah, devotees they look around what we can do. So in Ajman they are more open. for this kind of thing, so they got the permission. And actually in Ajman, it was really beautiful. The hall is much bigger than here in Dubai, so that's why more devotees could come, and there was a lot of guests as well, not just devotees. We noticed that especially when the kirtan, the one kirtan was over, and then the time, like few minutes before the next kirtan year starts, it was a lot of talk. Yeah, because they maybe don't know that, yeah, usually we chant or we listen some kind of meditation. Someone reads between the next kirtan year. But yeah, and Ajman is also not expensive. Even many devotees, even from Dubai, took hotels there because the drive will be just too much every day, twice per day. So price for the hotel was between 20 and 40 euros per night. So it's not like that expensive that you cannot afford. Yeah, and almost all the main kirtanias came. And of course, Achyuta Gopi, she's always the favorite one here. And
Yeah.
of course, including two Srila Prabhupada's disciple came, His Holiness Bibi Govinda Swami and His Holiness Sachinandana Swami. He was here because Japa and Govardhan retreat were over before Kirtan Rasa festival starts, so that's the reason why he can come. Otherwise, it's very rare that he's coming. And this year they also noticed that a lot of devotees came from other countries. And I also met two of them were from South Africa. And I was like, really? How come? And they said just because they saw the festival from last year on YouTube, they just wanted to come. And also I received many messages from my friends, even from Croatia. They said, oh my gosh, next year I'm coming. Everybody was so inspired just by seeing through YouTube.
Yeah.
They catch that atmosphere maybe, but imagine, Guru Maharaj, how it is when you're in person. Yeah, it's really beyond. It's really beautiful.
I tuned in 2 or 3 or 4 times for some time, but yeah, it's different being there, being in the midst, than just watching on. But it was nice.
Yeah, still it was nice. I can, if you allow me, Guru Maharaj, I would just share, I think it's 1 minute and a half, one video from just from inside, because when you're sitting around, you cannot maybe see what is
Yeah.
happening in the inner circle. So devotees, they who just to share the sound, who are sitting closer, then you can just a second, just to open because I open another one. Let's open this one. Yes, okay, share. And it was a dance which usually doesn't happen in this way, which happened now. Okay, share. Okay, now we'll play. So like this, and you probably noticed that also Krishna Murari Goswami came.
Yeah, I saw.
Yes, so it was so funny for him. I mean, for the first time he left India in general. He was never outside of India.
Oh,
And yeah, so first visit was Dubai, and of course we went around as well to show him. So he was also taking photo in front of Burj Khalifa because he was so like, yeah, because he needs to show to his friends in
yeah, of
underground.
course.
Yeah, it was so, yeah, it was interesting experience. Of course, I asked him how it was. Of course, everything was super, but he said, yeah, I can't wait to come back to see my boys, Krishna Balaram in underground. He says like that, yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, devotees. I mean, in general, they probably it will stay. This festival will stay in this emirate, Ajman, and I think that more and more people will come next year. And
Mm.
yeah, all devotees, you're most invited. I mean, most welcome to come to experience this. Yeah, because all kirtaniyas are saying that this is. Maybe they say for each of kirtans, but they really say that it's one of their favorite. Yeah,
Uh, yeah.
here in Dubai. Yeah.
Well, we'll see where I am next year this time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hare
Is
Krishna.
Ajman, how far is it from Dubai, Ajman?
From 60 kilometers. It's just 1 hour and a half because of the traffic. Yeah, it's the next one. The next, it's very
Uh-huh.
close to Dubai. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. Nice, nice. Okay. Kirtan Ras Dubai Ki Jai.
Yeah.
Oh, now we're getting some Muslim kirtan from Mayapur. Somebody's fired up. Yeah. Okay, so unless anyone else has something you'd like to share, I thought we could continue with our Nectar of Devotion overview. Speaking of which, just yesterday, Lokaram Prabhu came, he and his wife, to visit Lokaram Prabhu and his wife and his family, 3 kids. They live here in Mayapur since 2 years. And he is one of the editors of the VBT Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu project. So he gave an update how that's going. And I was very eager to hear because, as you may know, they asked me to write the foreword for it. So I did that. And now I'm waiting for the book. So he said they're expecting it to be ready this coming summer. The last I heard was end of this year, but now it's yeah. They're trying to make it, first class. So have to give it time to do the editing properly. Okay. So Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion. First, let's see if I have it here. Okay. Yes. Mhm. That's an unusual sound. We don't usually get that. I don't know what's happening there. Okay, so we decided to kind of jump into Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Well, let's go by the numbers of chapters Prabhupada gave. This was chapter 6, and I don't remember now, we're in 7 or 8. But what we're doing is going through the 64 items of devotional service that Rupa Goswami gives. And we might sometimes feel like, yeah, this is all really basic. Well, yes, it's basic. And sometimes we forget what are the basics. Nowadays, there's a lot of devotees like to talk about sort of rasika subjects. And that's understandable too. I don't want to condemn that. Prabhupada was very careful about it. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was very careful about it. I was reading Bhakti Swami's book, and yeah, he wanted to emphasize sambandha jnana, to understand who we are and what is our basic relationship to Krishna as servant. So to back up just a little bit, maybe we should close that door. Yeah. Ah, that's better. Thank you. Yeah, good. Okay. So first three items have to do with the guru. And the first is accepting the shelter of the lotus feet of a bona fide spiritual master. The Sanskrit of that is simply Gurvashraya. Guru Ashraya. And then with the Sandhi, it becomes Gurv. And Guru becomes, the U is replaced with a V because of the vowel following it. So Gurvashraya. Sheltering, being sheltered by a guru. So this idea of shelter comes in the very beginning. And shelter with who? With a guru. And then becoming initiated by the spiritual master and learning how to discharge devotional service. This painting is, of course, an illustration, sort of imagining our Srila Prabhupada. At that time, he was Abhay Charan, and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur initiated him with the name Abhay Charanaravinda. This happened in Prayag. They've now gone back to the name Prayag. I think they're calling it Prayagraj. It was Allahabad, sort of Arabic name, I guess, for so many centuries, I think. And now it's again with all the Indian Hindutva moods prevailing, political moods. So it's now Prayagraj. Anyway, that's picturing Prabhupada receiving his japa as a young man. In the year, which year was it? Anyone know?
1922.
Nope. 1922 is when he first met Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur for the first time.
1933.
Yes, 1933. And someone has noted that Prabhupada, his life goes in 11-year cycles. 22, 33, 44. I think he started Back to Godhead magazine. 55 is what he settled in Vrindavan, maybe. 66, of course, he established ISKCON in New York. 77, he departed. Anyway, interesting. So then The third point, obeying the orders of the spiritual master. So the second one, he's giving instruction what to do. And the third one is do it. Obey the orders of the spiritual master. And we have this interesting photo of Vishnu Jan Swami and Tamal Krishna Goswami with Radha Damodar, who are, some of you may like to know, being very much worshipped by Malati Gopi, god sister of many of you. And she and her husband, Raja Damananda, are now at Gita Nagari. He is a cowherd, and she is a pujari and a cook. Okay, that's just some explanation. He learns what to do. Item 3 instructs him to apply that knowledge. Okay. Number 4, following the footsteps of the great acharyas under the direction of the spiritual master. So this kind of opens it out, you could say. So it's not, it's not a completely exclusive thing that we have I have my guru and that's the end of the story. No, there are so many acharyas, and the spiritual master gives guidance in how to follow them. So it's a kind of expanded community in that way. And of course, we are known as Rupa Anugas, Rupa Anuga. Anuga means following after, going after, and Rupa is Rupa Goswami. So we are Rupanugas. Not Rupanugas, but Rupanugas. There's a difference. This is not my favorite picture of the 6 Goswamis because it cuts off their feet. But it's an interesting painting because each one has, I guess the idea is they're each sitting under a tree. They're each living under a different tree. Okay. Okay, the spiritual master has to follow the previous acharyas and scriptures. Anyone who doesn't is not bona fide. And there's a picture here. Who is this? This looks like a painting from Jadurani from way back when. And of course, Krishna is speaking, but who is he speaking to? I'm not sure. Oh, maybe he's speaking to the sun god Vivaswan. And then Vivaswan is speaking to Manu. That's probably the idea. Yeah. Okay. Following teachings of Buddha is not a bona fide way to practice pure devotional service. Because, don't tell this to Buddhists, because Lord Buddha's teachings rejected the Vedas and previous acharyas. Even if one is the personality of Godhead himself, like Lord Buddha, He's not a bona fide spiritual master if he does not follow the previous authorities. Historians will say, I was just reading about this, that Buddha was kind of adopted into the, what's the word? Into the assembly of avatars by the Brahmins as a way of a kind of inclusiveness which has a kind of political element to it. So there were Buddhists in India. In fact, in the Mathura Museum, there are statues that go back to apparently very early times, Gandhara style, apparently, Afghan style of Buddhist sculpture. And of course, there were Buddhist stupas and so on. Buddhism more or less disappeared. And there's a mystery about that. Historians wonder, why is it that Buddhism pretty much disappeared by, I think they usually say by the 12th century. Except maybe in Bengal, because Lord Nityananda was preaching to Buddhists. Yeah. It said he converted some. So there was a kind of tantric Buddhism in Bengal, they say. But otherwise, it more or less disappeared. And one explanation is that it got sort of appropriated. It got sort of included into so-called Hinduism. The other reason that's given is, or related maybe, is that Shankaracharya, as a kind of, how does that verse go? He was preaching a kind of covered Buddhism. Instead of saying it is all zero, he was saying it's all one. What's the difference? And he was kind of recovering respect for the Veda in such a way that the attractiveness of Buddhism faded out. Another reason given is that the Muslim presence, the various monasteries, Buddhist monasteries, were easy targets for invading Muslim armies and so on. They were easy targets. They were quite possibly quite wealthy and might have had wealth in the form of valuables, valuable jewels and gold and so on. Later, Buddhism comes back to India in two different ways. One is the Dalai Lama from Tibet takes shelter of North India, and he's still there after escaping from Tibet, being chased by the Chinese. And the other Buddhism was from B.R. Ambedkar, who was a contemporary of um, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, otherwise known as Mahatma Gandhi. And Ambedkar was a fierce critic of Gandhi for various reasons. He eventually, just 1 month before he died, I think, Ambedkar officially converted to Buddhism as a protest against the Hindu oppression of the Dalits, of the outcasts, because he came from an outcast, so-called outcast background. He was a prominent lawyer and part of the one of the leaders of the constitutional committee that wrote the Indian Constitution. But he wanted to reject Hinduism, so he officially became a Buddhist along with, I forget how many, few thousand others followed him. I don't know what that movement is doing nowadays, but I think it's there. Okay, famous verse, Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatra Vidimbina Aikantiki Harer Bhaktir Utpatayaiva Kalpate. Unless one refers to Shastra, Shruti Smriti, and Purana, etc., and Pancharatra, one's spiritual activity simply disturbs society. I think that should be without a hyphen if the ending is Harya, otherwise. So, Aikantiki Bhakti of Hari, in other words, singularly focused bhakti on bhakti to the Lord, Hari, is utpata, it's upset. It becomes disturbed when Shruti, Smriti, Purana, etc., and Pancharatra Vidhi, without this, Vina, without reference to all of these, then the bhakti, which we want to be completely focused, aikantiki, to the Lord, utpataya, it becomes just upset, disturbed. Kalpate, it's understood that way, it becomes like that. Utpata. Okay. Maybe I should say, if anyone wants to ask anything or comment on anything as we go along, feel free. I may not notice your hand raising, so you might have to just jump in, which is fine. Okay, number 5, inquiring from the spiritual master how to advance in Krishna consciousness. So we don't just listen and follow, we also question how to do it. And doubts also we want to bring. And but the attitude has to be right, and the formula for that is given in Bhagavad Gita. Tat vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. All our Bhakti Shastri students know that verse. Yes, the formula is threefold. Pranipata, pariprashna, and seva. And the word relevant here is pariprashna. Prashna means question. Pariprashna can mean thorough questioning. Maybe we can, let's see if we can find exact definition of pari as a prefix. I'm just looking. I don't know if you can see when I change the screen like this. Probably not. Okay, pari means round, around, about, roundabout, or fully, abundantly, richly, to the highest degree. Okay, those are the essential meanings we want. So pariprashna, thorough asking. But sometimes Prabhupada would say, there's only really one question that we need to ask, and that is, how can I serve? Number 6, being prepared to give up anything material for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ooh, that's already a tough one. The picture of Prabhupada here, I think, is significant. Here he's shown, of course, this is a kind of collage, but he's shown in front of the ship, the Jaladuta, which was the ship that he traveled on to the west. He was giving up Vrindavan. He was giving up his yeah, you could say in modern language, his comfort zone. He was going out of his comfort zone. Well, maybe that's not a good way to put it, because for Prabhupada, he said he was always remembering his spiritual master, and he was always with Krishna. So, number 7, residing in a sacred place of pilgrimage like Dwaraka or Vrindavan. Well, this one, of course, is not the most practical for most of us. In one sense, I see this as Rupa Goswami addressing the sort of people he immediately would have been thinking of, the sort of potential sadhus, I guess. He was writing in Sanskrit. We don't know. Yeah, I mean, how can we say if he anticipated translation into so many other languages? We can say, well, he is transcendental and therefore he would know this. Perhaps, yes. But then the explanation for those of us who may not be living in such place is we make the place where we are into a holy place. We can construct a sacred place, sacred space. that may just mean a corner of our apartment. Uh, but that still can be very significant for us. Prabhupada wanted devotees to come to Mayapur and Vrindavan once a year. He wanted them to come every year. Yeah, we immediately think, well, that's great, but financially, every year, how am I going to manage that? But the point is, he did encourage devotees to come. And we could say that even if we can only come once in our lifetime, we can make a point to do that uh, and do all we can to bring the sacred place of pilgrimage back with us wherever we go. There's Dhamma Seva, which can take several different forms, and one of them is just Dhamma Smarana, remembering the Dhamma. But even if we can't physically go to the Dhamma ever, we can hear about it. So that is also Dhamma Seva. And in some ways, that can be as good as visiting. Okay, the next one. Accepting only what is necessary or dealing with the material world only as far as necessary. And then there's a picture of, this would be Sanatana Goswami, is it, who was sheltered by Radharani and protected from the lions. Was it Sanatana Goswami? I think so.
Sanatan was chastising Raghunath Das.
Oh, it was Raghunath. Thank you. Yes, Raghunath, and Sanatan was scolding him. We say chastising because Prabhupada used the word chastising, but technically chastising is, if I remember, a physical act of scolding. Okay, Raghunath Das Goswami, yes. This is not very directly related, but I was just reading an article by my godbrother, the late, his name was Radhika Raman, and he was a professor who died just, maybe a year ago, maybe even less. Amazing writer. I really like his writing. He wrote an article about Vrindavan in a very interesting way. And one thing he mentions in the article is that the context is he's talking about pluralism and how that works in Vrindavan and how it doesn't work, how there are different groups that keep separate sometimes. So he said some years ago there was one Western Bhakta, Bhakta Richard, who came to Radha Kund. he had, before that, he had made a lot of money in the stock market. And so he came to Radhakund to kind of settle, but he wanted to preach. So he started a program of Harinam Sankirtan going around Radhakund. And he would, I don't know, kind of advertise whoever would join him in the Harinam was invited to take lunch that he would arrange. I don't know. I don't think he was cooking. Maybe he was cooking it, but he was arranging. He was sponsoring, in any case, lunch for whoever would take part. So he was getting, few people were coming to get that lunch. But then he decided to spread the mission of Lord Chaitanya. He started going into, there's what's called a Bungay colony, I guess on the edges of Radhakund. Bungays are sweepers. They are considered very low caste, very sort of untouchable. So he thought, yes, it's the holy name, it's for everyone. So he went charging into this area, and the local Brahmins did not like this at all. So they called the police. The police apprehended Bhakta Richard, and they revoked his visa, and they sent him packing out of the country. Because for these Brahmins, this would have been a disturbance of the social order. Maybe Lord Chaitanya would have approved, but they didn't approve. So that is still going on in India and even in Vrindavan. Okay, if one makes vows that are above his ability, he's likely to break them, and one, become implicated in the sin of breaking his word, and two, one considers oneself a failure, which may discourage, that should be fixed, may discourage him from devotional service altogether. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada advises us to make realistic vows and not unnecessarily accept spiritual practices beyond our current level of realization. Yeah, makes sense. One of the anishtata bhakti aspects from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is utsahamayi, which means having kind of superficial enthusiasm, which doesn't last. And the next one is ghanatarala, which literally means thick and thin. And so it means having some intensity for some time, and then the next day, just the opposite. Don't tell me about Krishna. Haridas Thakur was concerned, and when he became approaching the end of his life, that he was not able to keep his vow of chanting, and Lord Chaitanya told him, that's okay, it's okay, don't worry about it. But he really felt, no, this is my vow, I need to complete this. But then it was very shortly after that he departed the world, but he did so in the lap of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's a good way to go.
Mhm.
Number 9, observing the fasting day on Ekadashi. Yeah. Srila Prabhupada gave us a very minimal vrata of just avoiding grains and legumes, and that was it. One devotee was serving him, he was cooking for him, for Srila Prabhupada, and accidentally, on Ekadashi, he used this powdered asfatita, which has some grain in it mixed in to make it so it can stay like a powder. Otherwise, I think it just becomes a blob. So, and he didn't realize it until it was too late, and he went and apologized to Srila Prabhupada. He was very sorry that he had done this. And Prabhupada said, it's okay. We're not fanatics. That was all. That's okay. We're not fanatics. Prabhupada was very balanced. Number 10, worshiping sacred trees like tulasi. I think it mentions others. We have here on this property in the southeast corner an amalaki tree. And amalaki is very, very lucky. Sundari Madhavi Mataji, who's overseeing all the gardens here, who arranged this, she told me that Jaipataka Swami told me every property should have in the southeast corner an amalaki tree. It will protect the whole property. So, and I think amalaki, there's 5 trees. One is amalaki, and that one worships. And yeah, banyan and what else? Tulasi. Maybe it's here. No. Okay, then starts 10 negative. You could say nishedha. The first 10 are vidhi and the next 10 are nishedha, things not to do. And this is kind of introducing offense to the Vaishnavas is the foremost impediment in devotional service. Impediment means obstacle. One can positively guard against this offense by developing an attitude of firm respect toward any living entity connected to Krishna service. These entities, oh, here they are. These entities include banyan trees, tulasi, brahmanas, and cows. Yeah, we also, so on one side here we have the amalaki tree, and on the other side, just over the wall, we have cows. We have little Goshala with 3 cows, one cow and her 2 sons, 2 bulls, one very young bull and one older. And it's kind of funny. The 2 bulls are very mellow, and the cow, she doesn't let you get close to her. She doesn't like it. Mangala. Mangala, Padma, and Prishi. 11, one should rigidly give up the company of non-devotees. Okay, we get this picture of someone. Hare Krishna. Yeah. Non-devotees, three types. Atheists try to satisfy selfish desires by their own endeavors. Second, mundane religionists try to satisfy selfish desires by God's blessings. And impersonalists try to satisfy selfish desires by obtaining liberation. So the common denominator is trying to satisfy selfish desires. Okay, we might want to add a fourth group, just materialists, but anyway, that pretty much covers them. Urmila Mataji, who put this together, she has some interesting images sometimes. 12, one should not instruct a person who is not desirous of accepting devotional service. Okay. Yeah, so someone has to be a bit receptive. But this is also the principle which Prabhupada would say that devotees, because they're so merciful, they risk, not following this by approaching all kinds of people. 13, one should not be very enthusiastic about constructing costly temples. I don't know what this temple is in the background. Is it a real temple or is it? Yeah, I don't know. Prabhupada was questioned why he was building the Krishna Balaram Mandir in Vrindavan when there are so many temples in Vrindavan already. And because one should not be enthusiastic about constructing costly temples. And Srila Prabhupada said, well, it's natural. One wants to, how did he say it exactly? I don't remember, but he said, naturally one wants to establish a place for one's mission, something like that. And now Krishna Balaram Mandir is extremely popular. The kirtan, the temple is packed. People come to hear the kirtan and see the Anreji bhaktas. It's known in Vrindavan as Videshi Mandir or Anreji. Anreji means English in Hindi, and Videshi means foreign. So it's that foreign mandir. But it's very popular. One should not try to read too many books, nor should one develop the idea of earning his livelihood by lecturing on or professionally reciting Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. I shouldn't quote this because I have so many books here. And I tend to read too many books myself. A livelihood by lecturing or professionally reciting. Yes, Prabhupada was quite critical about Bhagavat Saptaha performances as a way of livelihood. Um, and his point was that, the mood of the reciter has to be one of complete, it has to be transcendental, otherwise how is the message of the Bhagavatam going to be properly communicated so that people will be inspired, not just entertained, but inspired, actually inspired to surrender to Krishna. But it's also an interesting phenomenon that these Bhagavat Saptahas have become more and more popular. You'll see big signboards in Vrindavan and I think other places as well, of advertising of this or that Bhagavat Saptaha performance event. And some of them attract very large crowds because the speaker is very charismatic in one way or another. And I think there's a bit of a gray area. I met one of the Radharaman Goswamis some year ago. That's kind of a funny story how I met him, but Avadhuta Priya encouraged me to meet him. And so I met him and was very welcoming and really welcoming. And he was even inviting me that when he gives a saptaha that I could come and speak at that. But what I saw was, I felt that he was genuinely dedicated to the Bhagavatam. In one sense, yes, this was, you could say, a kind of professional activity that he was doing, and now his son is doing and is quite successful also. But there's some kind of genuine dedication there also. They start from from childhood, learning the Bhagavatam to become kathakars, those who give katha, Bhagavad Katha. So there's a kind of culture there that I would say it is not grossly material. It is, it's a kind of in-between area. And then, I don't know, I think, well, if it's attracting people to some extent to the Bhagavatam, maybe they're not going to renounce their family life to take up the mission, but somehow they're attracted and they will carry on a tradition like that. The activities themselves are not forbidden, for even the author, Srila Rupa Goswami, had disciples, constructed fancy temples, and read and wrote many books. Rather, the motives of pride and prestige linked with these activities must be rejected. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. 15. One should not be neglectful in ordinary dealings. And then she put this image with little rules. Say please and thank you, be polite, raise your hand, follow rules, share with others, take turns. That's like for children in kindergarten, I think. There was one Unitarian minister years ago wrote a book called something like Everything That Was Worth My Learning, I Learned in Kindergarten. His point was like this: the essential things, be nice and don't steal, and you learn it in kindergarten. Okay, ordinary dealings especially refers to financial transactions, which have the peculiar ability to evoke a mood of cheating and miserliness that weakens the selfless foundation of sadhana bhakti. Yeah, we should be careful about money. And Chanakya Pandit says we should pay our debts immediately. And three things he says to attend to immediately. One is debt, one is fire, and one is disease. So debt is one. And I would add to ordinary dealings to be careful what we promise if we're not sure that we can actually fulfill the promise. It's an unfortunate common thing that we may say, yes, yes, I will do, and then we don't do something. And perhaps another ordinary dealing we should be careful about is when someone confides in us, to be careful that we're not sharing with someone else that we should not be sharing with. In other words, keeping confidentiality. Oh, what's this? 16, one should not be under the spell of lamentation and loss or jubilation and gain. Funny photos of small children. So sometimes we may, sort of revert to the mentality of these kids when something disturbs us. And a comment to that from Bhagavad Gita. Yes, this, of course, is an important section of chapter 12 of Bhagavad Gita. One who is equal in both happiness and distress, who is equiposed in happiness and distress, fear and anxiety, who neither rejoices nor grieves, who neither laments nor desires, who is equiposed in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy. Such a devotee of mine is very dear to me. She's kind of edited out the repetitions of this person is very dear to me and so on to combine it. So that's nice. And 17, one should not disrespect the demigods. Yes, I have one godbrother, Ramanath Sukha in London, who's very concerned that in ISKCON we're not properly respecting Lord Shiva. He's written some articles and he's concerned that in our idea that we only worship Krishna, we're not properly respecting, especially Lord Shiva. Yeah. One should not give unnecessary trouble to any living entity. That seems obvious enough to devotees, and yet yeah, we may not be aware. This is, I would say for myself, this would be part of my argument why I don't want to take milk products unless they're from protected cows, because it's, I would say, giving unnecessary trouble to cows. Not that my one boycotting of the dairy industry makes any difference to the dairy industry, but somehow I feel the need to keep that as a little principle for myself. Especially after reading this book I've finished and I've written a book review about now. So I had it here. Anyway, it's called Mother Cow, Mother India, a multi-species politics of dairy in India. And it's a very it's not holding back anything about describing what is the actual reality of the dairy industry. It's essentially an extension of the meat industry, which is, despite all the laws in India, it's actually huge. And the author goes into detail of how that's happening. Okay, I think I'll end there because that takes us to the end of chapter 7. Right. And it takes us to the end of our time in any case. Krishna, 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 hey. Yeah, that does take us to the end of our time. Any comments from our Shastric scholars? Yes. This book that I just mentioned, it's, yeah, probably you could order it through Amazon or something. It's published by Stanford University Press. It's an academic book. And I was given a copy because I was asked by the editor of the Journal of Animal Ethics to write a review of the book. So they gave me this book. But yeah, it's just called Mother Cow, Mother India. That's the main title. And it's by Yamini Narayanan. She's a scholar in Australia, originally from South India. Now, I have to say that for the next, how long? 2 weeks? I believe we will not be able to have Saturday Sanga. Yeah, 2 weeks in any case, and I'm coming back on the 27th. I'm arriving. Well, I'm probably not going to be in the best physical, energetic condition when I get back. And I'm not going to come back so much. Let's see, 10:30, 11:30. I mean, we could see. We can see maybe on the 27th. We can again have our Saturday Sanga, if you like. And in the meantime, those of you online, you're welcome to have the next 2 weeks your Bhagavad Gita Sangas. Who is part of that?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, Hare Krishna devotees. Yeah, we
Yes, Chitra Vilasini, you're organizing, aren't you?
Yeah, we can meet if the devotees want to meet next days.
Okay. So I will leave it to you.
Okay,
All
thank you.
right. Good. So thank you all for joining us again. Wishing you all a wonderful week of Krishna Bhakti. Chant, be happy, stay safe, stay sane. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
His Holiness Krishna Kshetra Swami Maharaja ki
jai.
jai.
Bhavan
Very
ki
much,
jai.
dear Guru
Hare
Gurudev.
Krishna Guru
Maharaj ki
Maharaj,
jai.
Thank you,
All
Hare
thank
glories
you
to
Krishna
very
Krishna.
much,
family,
dear
Jai
Gurudev. Thank you.
Jagannath,
Bhavan ki jai.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Krishna,
Lord,
Krishna Guru
good
Maharaj.
weekend,
to sve ali. Evo što.
Hare
To je to
Krishna.
gotovo, da, da.